Let me get my other camera going again. Oh boy. Tell you, one of those days my monitor's not working really well. Not working, my computer's down. So I was saying I was gonna have to do this old timey. I'm gonna have to use the photo. Lucky I printed it out and it's a decent photo or boy, I'd look really dumber than I am. But anyway, guys, okay, so here we go. We're going to starting off probably a few minutes late, but this is going to be an interesting one. I was talking about this one last week. Just you guys couldn't hear me, but I was talking. Couldn't finish it. I didn't get a chance to go back into it. I need to do a lot of brightening and work on the greens a lot. Just ran out of time last week to get to it. But I will fix it. And but you guys, there are some really good ones. You guys did do it, and I appreciate that. Now I can look at yours and see like, okay, I'm going to take this from this one for this, and I'll finish mine. Makes my job a lot easier. Anyway, oh boy, I didn't put paint underneath my eye. Today we'll be painting. This is going to be fun. This is a lighthouse, and this is up in Duluth, Minnesota. And it's off the Lake Superior there. A friend of mine, Stephanie Irwin, she took this photo. She lives right close to this area, and she runs every day and walks her dog. I painted her dog a few times. That's why I know her. But she lives right there, and she takes lots of pictures of this lighthouse. And this one, I thought this was put up probably less than a month ago, and I just loved it. I just liked the way the cloud of cold is moving in on it. Kind of tells a nice story, simple, clean, and it's almost monochromatic because of it's almost like blue and white, and that's about it. I mean, but we do have some darks in here, so it should be kind of fun to paint. It shouldn't be. I always say that. I always say, "Oh, this is an easy one," and it turns out to be a really tough one. So I'm not saying that. So let's pull it up, and I'll go over.
They never are easy, Jim. They never are.
There is no such thing, right? There really isn't.
Right.
There we go. You can see it a little bit better. Really, you see that big cloud of coldness coming in there. Just we're usually right next to this lighthouse on the right. That's where all these giant barges come in from Lake Superior and the Great Lakes, bringing coal and everything else in. And they're just giant. They just like 3 times as big as this lighthouse, is. They usually all the way up to the top of the clouds. These giant steamers and things are coming in. It's really cool. Probably have to paint one of those one of these days too, because they're really interesting, and they're just kind of colorful too. Not like this one, right? Yes, this one's pretty interesting because there's no color. It's all like blues and grays. So this over here, the scale over here is really going to be important to really nail in this thing. We got water, we got ice, we have lots of ice. We have reflections, a little bit of, and then we have, a lot of fluffy clouds. But then we have the stark, hard, monolithic lighthouse sitting in there. That lighthouse is also, I think it's metal. I mean, I look at this thing and I think I can see girders and things like that right here. You can see these little things. We won't be getting that close to them, but the interesting thing is how we're going to try and paint those. How do we indicate something like this rust and darkness and messed up stuff. And I think there's some graffiti here too. There's some graffiti. How to get that stuff and indicate it right without it taking over. And that's what we'll be looking at. Value wise, it's really subtle values. You look at this, you look at that lighthouse, and you look at the where this value is and stuff. You can see it's really close to a 5. It might even be a 6 value wise, probably closer to a 6. So that's how dark it is, really, right about there. Even the clouds, when you get into here and stuff, there's 4 would be, yeah, it's probably about 5. So this is all going to be pretty monotone. Everything's going to be pretty low on there. I mean, even when you do get to these guys here, they're probably more of a 3. So the only really light we have here is in the middle of the lighthouse that is shining and stuff. And it's warm. It's the only thing in this whole photo that is warm. And the value on that, if you squint, it's probably, I wouldn't go past a 2. And a couple little things here. We get in here tight. In the middle of that warmth, that light, right there in the middle of it, right in here, you're going to see some warmth around the outside. But that inside right there, that's a cool color. But it is the same value as the outside. If you squint at it, it kind of blurs together really close. So this light in here, this cool white, which is probably right about in here too. It probably has a little bit of blue in it. The reason it looks so, just kind of radiates a little bit, vibrates a little bit, is because those two colors, the white, the cool blue, and the yellow white, and the blue white right in here are vibrating against each other, because that's what happens when they're at the same value, which is what we do all the time. We're getting a lot of colors at the same value, but when they're just this high, you got a blue against the yellow, they're going to just bounce against each other a little bit, and that's what creates this. You kind of lose both colors a little bit. So we'll be working on that. We'll also see seagulls have not left. See those guys? Seagulls. So we'll be painting some seagulls. So we got some life in here, even with this giant cloud of cold coming out. You could probably almost see, like, a ghost ship coming out of here right about in here. That's what those tankers are, man. Those things are monsters. Just coming to probably take their own cloud with them, because they're the only thing, moving on the lake. So it's going to be kind of interesting to paint. It's very, so okay. So, the background, I don't think we're going to have too much trouble with the cloud. Look for, the big breaks. We got 3 really big ones here, little 4th one here. They kind of rotate a little bit here in. So that will help us kind of bring things around a little bit. Yeah, of course, the lighthouse is going to be the hardest thing to paint. A lot of straight edges, but there's just a little bit of snow right on the top of these edges. So that will help us. We can hide a lot of unperfect things here. Little perspective problems, of course, because she shot it so perfectly. I mean, she really got, that, even when there's an edge like this, it's still running straight. There's no perspective really uh, on this top edge here. It's because it's so shot so flat against the horizon. The horizon's in a good spot, so we're in a good spot that way. This guy's moved over just out of the middle, which would have been right here. So he's just over to the middle. That's okay, because I try to even slide it over a little bit more, but this start to lose this area here, and when you lose that, it's just becomes you kind of lose the water back there, and so it's just not quite as interesting. Yeah, there is a little bit of perspective here going back into here in the water and that the walkway out there, but it's not huge. Everything kind of points way over here, going back. So, so it's way over there. Okay. So a lot of stuff, a lot of hard edges. Almost these guys are kind of clean and stuff too, straight. That's okay. A lot of palette knife work. We can use some palette knife to get all these edges we want. Get those, even to dress them with just a touch of snow will be nice and shouldn't be too tough. Half the thing about painting these things is to think ahead of time how you're going to attack it. And so that's what I'm sort of doing right here. It's just going, well, definitely when you start getting into details like that, or straightening edges, or, whoops, sorry. This detail up here, even when you get to these little guys, you could put those in with a knife very easily and get most of that work done. Sometimes you might have to have two knives. You might have to even have a really smaller knife to be able to get this, but it's very, symmetrical and everything too. So the same on both sides. So it's a very interesting little shot. Okay. Color wise, yeah, very blue gray. I was looking for my burn umber because I was going, well, this one could be very easily made with just three colors. You could do blue, of course, burn umber, which will give you that gray, and white. You could definitely paint this with a lot of just simple, blue whites, blue grays, warmer grays, here and here, darker grays, and a lot of blue grays here. Could be outstanding. I mean, I always kind of like those when I see those, because they're really kind of refreshing to see when you see like Instagram or Facebook or something like that, because they stand out, because it looks like somebody really thought something out and really held back the whole way. Held back the color. They didn't go crazy with the color. So I think that's even probably what drew me to the picture itself. So, any questions?
Can we include chickens?
I'm just kidding. We definitely, if you want to put chickens in here,
just kidding.
Right there, no. This is Duluth. Come on. We do, like I said, there are some, we do have seagulls. So there's your life right there. We can always put in more seagulls. And I can't believe they have seagulls and how cold it is. I mean, we're in Chicago. The temperature is probably about, a little bit over zero right now, not much. And there, it's like 20 degrees colder. So it's way below zero all the time. All winter, it's going to be, they don't get above zero for a long time. They go months without it.
It seems uninhabitable. That's just so.
I
So
think so
cold
too.
looking.
You would think, right?
Yeah, but if people from Minnesota are very hardy. They just dress appropriately.
That's it. That's it. They got their chains on their tires and everything. They're ready to go. They enjoy it. Uh, anyway, but yeah, they're very hardy people up there. And anyway, so this is a fun shot. This is, I think, I think this could be a lot of fun to paint. So let's go over to the palette and let's get some colors mixed up. Okay, there we go. Got to make sure I don't ruin this. Since I can't believe my monitor is not turning on. Anyway, interesting. As you can see, I am running low on colors. So I even have these colors out, but I probably won't even be using any yellows and things. But I'll probably end up using some burnt, I think I have, this is Venetian out today. Oh, but definitely going to be using some titanium white. This is titanium white. Definitely. Clean my knife. I do, I have cad yellow out. I have cad red out. I have cad orange out. Most of these guys have been left out from previous paintings. I haven't had to replace it. I did put out cad orange, but I probably won't be using it. I do have some ochre out. That might be nice for when we get to the light and stuff to keep it from being too bright because it's kind of a grayed out yellow. But I do have cad out, or I do have orange out if I have to. If it's not bright enough, we'll see. Like I said, I have Venetian out. I'm out of oxide red. So I had to order some. This is alizarin crimson or rose madder if you're Rembrandt, rose madder deep. Cobalt blue hue, my blue. I love that color. Phthalo green. I do have burnt sienna out, and I think this is some. This is type transparent oxide back up there. That's just left over from painting. I did put out the burnt sienna out, and I do have just a little bit of King's blue out. I'm gonna leave the burnt sienna there just in case I do need it. My regular kit, big brushes, big synthetics, to bristle brushes. Bristle brushes will probably be nice for when we get around to this stuff. Oh, let's see. I added some nice stuff to my, too much oil left on my, not ideal. All right. But bristle brushes, a couple synthetics in there, and your knives, just to get things going. It's down there. Don't need it right now. All right, color-wise. Definitely blues, right? Blues, probably some greens too. We can see about getting some greens in there too, but they're going to be value-wise so close together, you won't be able to tell blue from green. A lot of times these greens here can come from as simple as burnt sienna instead of just a little more burnt sienna than blue. So this first two colors is going to mix up. Gonna look at this. Gonna keep it really see how clean and subtle we can make it. Just burnt sienna and blue. So this first color here is going to be on the blue side, so I'm not putting in a ton of burnt sienna, but you can start to see it, go there. So it's on the blue side. That's going to be, you can see where that can fit in this guy pretty easily. Wait a second.
Jim,
No one
you
told me.
Oh, there you go.
No one told me. Okay, now I got to redo it all. Color-wise. Again, titanium white, cad yellow, cad red, cad orange, ochre out, Venetian out, alizarin crimson, cobalt blue, phthalo green, burnt sienna, and I got some King's blue out. Sometimes that will help. Use that to cool off things instead of using white sometimes, especially when you get to just need a little blue and you need a little white, but you don't want to go white because you have to. It's just, sometimes it can save you a step. So what I was doing here is I took blue, 2 dabs of blue. This one I put in some burnt sienna. And I'm leaving it, I was going to leave it on the blue side. So we
Hey, Jim.
Yes.
What blue is that? Is that a cobalt or the French blue?
This is cobalt blue hue.
Thanks.
But if you need to use the French, would be fine too. It's really just having the same blue throughout the painting instead of going back and forth. You'll be fine. You could be fine too. So that's on the blue side. This will be on the burnt sienna side, so it's going to take a little bit more burnt sienna in this blue. This is what I was talking about, getting those greens that are kind of cool greens and stuff like that in here. Just the yellow that is in that burnt sienna, will give you that stuff. So that really right there says, wow, that's going to take care of pretty much everything, I think. So these two together are going to make a lot of the painting. Definitely, what I'm going to do here, though, I'm going to build a little bit bigger piles, just because lately I've been just a little bit on the not making big enough piles and running out of paint. Which is, sometimes it's good because it slows you down. So, okay. So we got 2 colors there. That's just 2 colors. A lot of blues, a lot of things here. Let's see what happens here. We've got 2 colors here. Let's take and split these 2 piles. There's going to be a lot of gradations of white probably coming in here. This first one, I'm thinking about just some of this cement coming graying down and some value-wise, very dark still. Probably right, I think you can see it's really right close to an 8 or 9 even. That doesn't mean much white, much color to it. Maybe instead of using white, I'd use King's blue. Let me see what happens if I use a little bit of King's blue, which is just a weak color. See, you could put that in there all day and hardly shift this color off, but it will blue it up a little bit. It brings out the blue. It'll probably end up being back in there. As you can see, this color has to be grayed out a little bit more for the background. Let's see it over here on what happens with it on the ground side. Just a little bit. You can see it just did not move it. A little more King's blue. And that starts to get me into this stuff. As you can tell, just did not do much to it. Okay. That's how weak that King's blue is. Just did not even take a dark and level it up one. So just a touch more. It's just too close to that. Too close to that. Okay. What that will do too is it's going to cool off that color a little bit. That's really close, even though it looks a little dark. I'm just going to take these colors on down because I'm thinking a lot of these colors back in here are going to come through in the next stage. So I'm going to leave a little bit, and I'll tell you, I don't need quite as much of this. I do need more blue. And I'm just going to add white because that King's blue didn't do anything. So I'm going to go for these midtones back in here. And so I'm just adding white. And it came really close. Perfect for the water. So that was so simple. That is just burnt sienna. I mean, burnt sienna and blue and white. One on the blue side, one on the brown side. And it could be as simple as that, painting this. And you can see just adding white, you can see how much different adding white than King's Blue. King's Blue also cooler off, and that's why I'm not using it here, because I don't need this brown cooled off anymore. That's not really what I was looking for, but I was getting it. So I'm starting to get there. Now I might cool it off. Okay. So we could definitely take this and just take going down and going steps and going down one more step, going, okay, really all I got to do is take this to a 4. This is, might have to go back here, steal some, because it's so, I put white down first. You put white down first, and it reacts differently. I mean, we're going to get a lighter color automatically. You put it into something, just sometimes just the opposite. So this is like those two, this is 3, and you can start to see it doesn't really fit too many places here. This is what burnt umber side, burnt sienna side. Then this is the cooler side on the blue side. One more step, feel it from up here. You can see it starts to get there. Definitely all over the water, starts to become the snow. Basically, yeah, just that right there. The contrast between, white and dark, light and dark, 4 or 5 steps between the two, and you can paint this thing. All right, well, that's one way to go about it. And we'll be using a lot of this color. I'm going to shove in just a little bit more color, a little more trouble stuff, especially in here. I think this could be, even if we did it as simple as these 2 colors going back and forth, painting it basically a black and white photo, changing and just adding a little color. Let's try a little bit. Let's try one more little thing here. I'm going to go green and red. I'm going to do a warm red. No, I'm going to do a cool red. Alizarin and green. And see how that does. Mostly green. Well, probably on the green side. My alizarin's pretty strong. So I want to get this kind of like right in the middle, just to give me a second color play, and then we'll do the light. I think you can see how dark that is. When you get to these do this kind of stuff, you can almost swap. You can swap these guys out in here. That is almost too dark for the painting, but that's why we're going to take it down.
So, Jim, was that the rose madder?
This is rose madder and phthalo green.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, I call it alizarin because not too many people have rose madder. Just add a little bit of white to get them to the same value. And it does that, as you can tell, was not a little bit of white, but you can see that's on the green side. And it's just a little warm, but sometimes that kind of stuff in here, back in here, will make it come to life. We don't want to be too plain. This is on the red set, which is the Rose Madder Deep or alizarin set. And we're going to get some cools, and that's what I was looking for in here, just to bring this area to life. I have them one step too dark yet, so I'm going to steal the top colors and throw them in here. Just added too much white. And I'm going to keep my knife a little purple. I think this green's probably just a little too green for this painting. It just needs to just be a little more subtler. So I'm going to add just a little more red to it, but it's still going to be different than this one. So slightly, and as you can tell, I probably basically I can push these piles together and get the same thing. So I'm going to take these guys down, just like I did with the other ones, down one step. Clean my knife in between for quit polluting the piles. But at this stage, right here, you'll be able to see the green show through a little bit better. And it's just going to give me one more color to play with. And this is, like I was saying, these are just really nice grays. Got a really warm one. You got some really kind of cool ones. Even sometimes these grays can be cooler than just using blue. Just trying to get them all about the same value. You can see where that fits. You know, it's a little bit warmer. And look, I mean, after that, I said that just still a little warm. Take them down to, let's see what happens, because sometimes when you get back in here, you don't want it being too stagnant color, you know, using that too much back there. So you want to have a few colors to play with. So this is phthalo green and alizarin or rose madder. Taking down these 4 steps, trying to get all the values right. Just keep, want to get too light, end up taking it all the way back up here. Adding in some green here to get it. But you really, it looks cool here. You put it against this stuff and it becomes warm. A lot of blue is going to be in this one, definitely. I'm going to put just a touch more red into this alizarin, into this color at the end, and then knock it down with white again. You know, if I was using King's Blue, that would probably have done some things. It might have even pulled these things together. Let me see something over here. I think I grabbed some, there's some, sorry. If I use King's Blue in this, wow, that's really close. Instead of using white, using King's Blue, it almost gets me that. A lot of little things you can do here. You know, you don't have to, you stay simple on this. You can make it a little more complex. Lights, midtones. We'll probably need a little bit more mid-tones. So a lot of these 2 piles, they'll probably be an in-between color. We'll probably have to work out a little bit. Not too bad. Likewise. Definitely we can start with, I'm just, like I said, I'm going to start with ochre. A little bit of ochre and white. Just going to give me more of a neutral. It's not going to be hitting you in the face. as you can see, when you put it up there, just, that's okay. That's okay. Probably just going to be a little bit, I'm going to add just a little more ochre. I want to darken it down a little bit. I don't want it to jump out at me a little bit. So that value, this value is probably still way up there. It's almost 1. Take a piece of it. Add just a little bit of, oh God. I was going to say just a touch of Venetian to it. Just a hair. And see if I can get that. It could be sweeter. It could be sweeter than that. So it could be alizarin in white. In there. Very close. Very close. Probably just a hair more white. See how bright that red is? This is kind of natural. You can get that. And one of the things, the last thing I'm going to do here is just white. Same value as these guys. A lot of work just for, light, getting all these colors in this light. But that's just white, blue, and a scratch of my cobalt blue hue together. What I want to get is the exact same value. Right now, it's way too light. So I'm just adding in the blue little by little into the white. As you can see, it's starting to come up. You'll just be able to see blue. Just that there right there. That crossover from white to a little bit of blue, value-wise. And that's what I'm going to be doing here on this light at the end. I'm going to be using these 3 colors. Orange on the outsides, coming on with pink to yellow to blue in the middle. This color here might end up being working in here too a little bit. So I probably should have one more values, things like that. I always go like this. Oh, I'm done. You are going to need just blue and white a little bit. And let me see values. You can see just a little, see how cool that is? That's why you need just a little burnt sienna or to make it, we'll gray it out and warm it up. But now I'm looking and going, I'd rather do one more thing. I'm going to go with the phthalo green. Add just a little bit of phthalo green in here to warm it up. And this could be snow. Just a hair of phthalo green in there. And you can see it just starts to drop in. Right?
What are those colors, Jim?
This is phthalo green. This is just blue and phthalo green and white. Value is right up at a 2 or 3. Probably close to a 3, which would be perfect. That's this color back in here.
And that's
Behind
just the cobalt blue.
Yeah, cobalt blue.
Okay.
With just we're talking a hair of phthalo green in it.
Okay.
Because I mean, we could definitely paint this whole thing with just these colors. Yeah, well, but this guy here is going to help do a lot of the other stuff, this in between stuff. It's probably, if we could go a little more pinkish here in this guy. I can see a little pink in there. So I'm going to stay with this. I'm going to go to war with these colors. I definitely would say I'll end up doing just a hair of alizarin and purple in this thing too, just that coolness. And I think that's going to be right in here on this guy. Value wise, again, sorry, I'm a little bit off kilter today. Just going to make this. So this is just taking this color here. This is and adding just a little alizarin to it. And I was hoping to get all these other little things on this guy when I start digging in. That this color here at a number 3 or 4 now, with that red in it, turned to a 4. Let me mix. I'll mix it up again because I really didn't tell you guys what I was doing. So blue, cobalt blue hue, basically just a little bit of phthalo green, not half as much, just a little bit into it, leaving it really on the blue side, just enough to keep it from being too cool. That's what that did. These guys are really kind of grayed out cool. Sometimes you just need this little spark. Then I'm going to add white to it to bring it to a number 4 or 3. And as soon as you add white, you kind of cool it off a little bit. As you can see, that's too cool. That's why I had to add the green to it. Just enough green to warm it up. It's almost a turquoise again. Just like this is our sky. This is what we paint. Usually our skies, I usually paint my skies with this color. Values of this. And you can see just a little cool yet. But then I'm going to add white. I made a bigger pile here, so I'm not going to use quite that much for that pile. Like this. Add enough white to get about there. So you get that to a number 3. And that will help us with this guy. This guy here, he's probably more of a 4. So that's where I was taking this color, splitting this pile, and adding just enough alizarin. Still a cool blue, cool red to it. It's a cool red, but against blue, it's warm. So we get this up. So this is just a little bit cooler than that one. That was only just adding. But that will be in here. It'll be, you'll see it a lot in this, like edges of snow here. You're going to find this kind of just a tinge of red to it. But this color here, you're going to find on a couple of these areas over here on this other blue snow. And that's why I'm going to leave this one, because I figured this area here just going to need some more blue to it. So this could be fun. That's what we have. So I'll go through the colors again real quick. Up here we have just blue. We have blue and burnt sienna together. No white. Came down here and added white to them to get to probably about 8, 9. You know, probably about 8. 8 is the lightest, almost in between 8 and 9. Really, so it wasn't much. I was adding. I didn't use white. I used King's Blue. King's Blue barely moved. But then I brought it back down, and these ones I added white to it because King's Blue just going to blew it out a little bit. I would use a whole tube of blue, King's Blue, to get this right. And I took that down to probably, you know, well, shit, they were really like 7s. Then I brought them down here, and I added a ton of white to them, bringing them down to probably about a 4. So not gonna. It's going to be in this range. This painting is going to be all in this range. So it's really a what you'd call a tonalist kind of painting. We're not trying to get really blacks. You got light and too bright, so you're going to be basically in this range of painting. Over here, I decided to make, okay, well, let's do a little couple other grays I know that are blue cool. When they turn right, they could be nice. So this is just phthalo green and alizarin together. This is on the green side, this is on the blue side, or red side. Coming down here with white. I added white to them. They should be up there too. Didn't mix. They had to tone these color guys down to get them the right value. Then I brought them down here and added white. And you can just see the little bit of green in here. You can see a little bit of purple in here. And then you've got this really warm, it's almost a taupe kind of color here. And that one is definitely a blue. I go, okay, those are really good. Okay, the light itself is going to be basically ochre and white. Here I put in just a scraping of oxide red or Venetian into it. I mean, just a scrape. Here I added, I decided to do, okay, I got that, but I kind of like this, always this pink. So I went back to alizarin. I have the alizarin in over here. So I feel like, yeah, I can use that in here too. So I did that. Alizarin and white. Value-wise, we squint at them. We're really pretty close to the alizarin one. This one almost pops a little bit more. But then I said, okay, the inside of this light, that color, I know it's going to be a cool, and it's got to be the same value as these guys. So it's blue and white, just till you can barely see blue. That's going to be nice. I'd be able to use it other places too a little bit, but not quite as much. But that told me that I do need a little more intense color here to center the sky a little bit. So that's why I thought, okay, I'm going to come up with phthalo green and blue mix, because it just had that little bit of green, and that'll help me just create volume in this guy a little bit, so it's not all just these guys going together, which will work, but sometimes you need these guys here to really bring it out. And they'll be nice for snow caps and things like that. Details. A lot of the work I'll end up doing at the end is going to be knife work with this guy. So that's about it. Any questions? No questions. I love that. Pretty simple. You can get away pretty simply, but I do need it to get a little bit more complicated than in it at the end. I don't want to be too easy on you guys, right? So some nice mixes. Okay, I want to get my dang it. Trying to get the plastic off my canvas. It just doesn't want to come off. Knife just doesn't want to get it off. I'm gonna have to stab it. No, it's different smaller knives sometimes will help out at this end too. All right, finally. The camera's up rolling. Okay. Bring it back. Okay. bring you guys in. Turn this up a little bit. You guys can. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna lay down some colors for this background. I don't want to do burnt sienna because that's gonna turn it green. Definitely, and I'm thinking I'm just gonna go with a neutral. I also gotta put out some oil too, would be great. I'm gonna go with Venetian. Because I don't think that it's on the cooler side of the painting. I don't want to go warm on it. The Venetian is warm enough, and
Hey, Jim, what color is Venetian?
Venetian's a warm red. Kind of, you can sort of see it there. It's kind of a warm red.
So like a cad red light?
No. No.
Oxide red.
Oxide red. Oxide red would work. You got oxide red or Terra Rosa. Do you have either of those?
I have a Aurelian crimson.
Yeah, that's a little right. You could take that and add some blue to it, probably, and
then
get
white.
close. No white. Don't add white to it.
Okay.
And then we'll just thin it out. Stuff. Yeah, I would. Yeah, that would probably be a better color to go with than any of the CADs would just be too bright back there. I mean, I've seen people do pink and stuff like that on their paintings, and green, bright greens, and these fluorescent colors back there, and letting those guys show through. And they, depending on the person, some of it can work. Usually, those things you don't see too many of them work really well. Because you're gonna have a lot of goofy colors showing through, and you're gonna get a bright. A lot of people paint those because they want some of the canvas to show through. So I wanted to go with a little more monotone color, which is kind of more, just slightly grayed out. This is like a kind of a dead color. If you did burn umber and just a little bit of red, you'd probably be fine. I got to rub this in just to get this canvas, like I always say, to get this canvas to start to accept paint. Guys, just also spreads the oil out, just gives it a nice little bit of starter. This oil, though, I'm putting on, it's so thin. I mean, I'm really wiping it all off. And it's just going to leave just a little bit of slickness to it. And that's not even that much. I mean, really. All right. With that, I'm just going to draw it in a little bit. And come in from the bottom, slight angle. Let's figure out the midpoint. I mean, where I want to, the water, the horizon, where that goes. Right? Get that in. Okay. I'm going to take this thing slightly above the horizon. Okay, so it breaks the horizon too. I'm not going to let them all be, right there. It's just going to just slightly break it. keep it on this side too. So I have just more room over here. So it's going to, not by much. Same. So that horizon's going to be right about here. I'm going up like less than 1/4 of an inch on mine, going up a little bit. And that's where this brush comes in so handy. It's almost like a ruler when I'm painting stuff, just because I can lay it down next to each other and create straight lines. I don't really like too many straight lines, but you know, if you need to get to one of those things, you know. Boy, I think laying it out is probably going to be the hardest thing to do here. I think I can allow it. It doesn't come quite that much. It's just right there. Okay. So yeah, it's very, you know, almost all the perspective on this painting was taken out. So just by putting it a little bit back in, I'm sorry, I got to get in front of it because I am drawing at such an angle. Sorry, had to get. I am drawing at such an angle that some of my markings are off. I need to just get over here and straighten a few things out. Okay. In the middle of this, there is a little staircase back there too. In there, I remember seeing, but I'm not going to probably do too much with that. I'm just going to just kind of indicate things. Let's not lose too much here. Fine. These guys right here. Not there. Slightly. If I was doing perspective on this thing, this would say, like I was saying, all these things, this line, this line, this line, this line, this thing, and this thing would all go back to the same dot and would be right here on this horizon, probably right about over here. So trying to get everything, that tells me this one's probably a little low on that edge. That edge, that one's okay. Okay. I'll be fine. Okay. Another thing, getting this guy in here, kind of knowing where he's going to go. Comes off this edge right here, this line here, just slightly in from that point. I'm just going to go slightly in. And really, I'm going to match it up. It goes almost straight up. I'll get in front of it again, see if I did that. That's the thing, isn't it? Slight perspective. I mean, there's a slight goes in just a little bit at the top, but basically straight up. A little bit more on this side than that one. So I'm going to bring it down a little bit here widthwise. Did not do it right. That'll work though. Okay. Gonna go for the sort of hardest thing. It's just getting rings on this guy right with a little bit bigger. These two definitely we're losing a little bit on the bottom here, a little bit from perspective from this guy. This guy goes in just a slightly thinner than this guy. And a little thicker, longer. I'll have to get back in front of this again. And then this guy slightly less. Not by much. That's where the just measuring these guys out, relationships between each one. Go right about there. This isn't too bad. This goes up just a little higher, and it could be the, could be that area. And, a lot of times on this, especially on this stuff, I'm just trying to help you get it right. I mean, but you don't have to be perfect on this. Okay. Right up the middle. If you run a line right up the middle of this thing, pretty much that's going to tells me everything else about this thing I can do. It's very symmetrical, just a little bit of an angle on the sides here. A little bit of an ornament at the top right in here. When I do ornaments like this, that's pretty much how I'll be putting it in too. Not too much more after that. And then the outside's really the just a little bit. That almost looks probably too tall for this thing. Should probably be ending almost right down in here. So that's right. I could just widen this thing out a little bit. Both sides. One step and get it to feel better. This is probably too high, but that's okay. That's good enough for now. For me, at least, and I'll fix it up later if I have to. Water, definitely we want the same sort of width. Let water be pretty straight across. There are going to be some little waves in it. Going to be a little bit of that. And definitely when you come down here, reflections pretty much is a mirror reflection of this thing. So everything is going to come straight down from it. This is probably just a little wide right here. And this is where there's some ice right here. Definitely that's what's going to help flatten the visual out, is this ice at the end coming across, being more perpendicular with the bottom a little bit. Will help flatten this water out. Right in here. First cloud, big cloud, one coming in underneath, big cloud on top. That's the thing, it's what I did. Oh, God dang it. It's what I did is I made that guy so tall. What happened is my clouds dissipated. My cloud's so small, I can't get it in. And really, this paint's not quite as much for me about the this lighthouse. It's more about the cloud. So I'm just gonna take 2 seconds here and redo this guy. A lot of the things are gonna stay the same. Just gonna shrink some things down, a little more squatty. Just bring it down, everything down one. And then so again, dark there, space, here, dark here, space. So I dropped it down about a couple of inches, really. Fits better. This is probably closer. It's better to get it right at this point than you know. I'd rather have this. I don't need to do the other stuff, but getting this in right will helps out a lot. Okay, so that helps a little bit more. So now I can get this where things are. I mean, it's a lot closer to what we do. So now I get this. I get to really get some fun stuff going in here. So this is painting clouds, painting waves, painting fur. You're going to find a lot of these things have the same relationship, softness, things that blends, certain blends. So I'm just going to mark out a few areas in these clouds of darkness where I think, where I want to get some darkness. Definitely on the back bottom edge here, softening up, going up. It's going to be dark, right? Going to be dark right in here. Probably one of the darkest areas of that cloud. It's going to be right here at the line of the horizon line. Let's move my horizon line down. At least I can fix this stuff. It's oils, it's easy to fix. Okay, so it's going to come down to there. Make sure I'm pretty close. So I want to get these little sways going back and forth, kind of coming over here. This one comes up a little higher and then turns over. Nice, right there. Twist, little dark area there. Comes back in. That's what happens there. Oh, it does come in. It just comes in. That's the thing. Let's start off with it about right, but then we don't have to worry about it. And a little oil back there too. That's going to be a lot of fun to think about. Since I'm working off this one today, not my monitor. God damn. Okay. So, I'm going to go with my darks first, right? A little bit. I'm not going to worry too much about them up here yet. I'm probably going to paint the cloud more in there. But I just want to get a little bit of the structure down in here a little bit. But I'm not going to paint too much of this guy yet because of I want to have some looseness to paint with the clouds and stuff. So I'm going to be looking at trying to get some gray relationships between all the cement and the metal there. I'm going to start off with burnt sienna and blue, and I'm going to start off with the very top one, very dark, and we'll just put in. I'm just going to put in this area here, putting it in just a little bit of paint. I mean, I'm talking, I'm letting it come off and, first stroke, I want to get out here in the dark area, but then as I get going back in here, I'll let the paint just kind of drift off it a little bit. I'm going to keep going and get this little corner area, which, I did not, draw it out perfectly, but that's okay. Everything comes back to the lines up, just touches right there. Then this last one back in here, I'm going to go with just a little bit more blue on the blue side of that, just to give me some distance and finish this thing off. So these, just to get the dark done. Drag it into the water a little bit. You might even take that blue and come in here and use it on the warm things. Because one of the things about reflections is they usually drop. Darks usually go a little bit lighter in the reflections, and lights go a little darker. So cooling it off, just that cooling off from the warmth to the coolness is pretty much all we need to do right here on this, at least on this one. So I'm going to blend it out. I got a little blue showing, streaking in my brush here. Bring it down. So this is on the blue side. This is on the warm side, except for this thing right here. And this is at the full strength color. Might even use it up here a little bit too, just on this cement. A lot of times I'm just dragging the color through my brush, and I'm not going to be doing just getting it, running it out, totally out. And so this is just with the oil there, catching a little bit of the oil there and darkening in this area here. As you can see, value-wise, as I thin it out with the oil, just kind of like a watercolor, it just starts to work out, you know, value-wise. It's really good to get it in there. I'm gonna go up here and do the same here. No white yet added to my paint, right? I'm just gonna get this cement area here up here too, and just using the the oil that's there. Very thin oil, very thin paint, just enough more opaque, a little more weight to the paint underneath here. But basically it's the same color. It's burnt sienna. The only difference here is just really it's less paint, just a little thinned out with oil. I didn't even add oil. It's just basically using what was there and not doing too much. Okay. I'm going to clean my brush out a little bit. Get that brown out of there. I'm going to go down and then we'll start. Now we can start getting the guts of the painting in a little bit more. You saw I also brought out the dark in the water here a little bit because it's going to have to be in there. But I'm going to go back here. We're going to start on the big stuff now. That was just to get the structure in. Now we'll dig into getting the blues and stuff. And I'm going to see about, you know, getting the darks back in here first, because that's really what's on here. So I'm going to go drop down one step here. Now I'll be using things with white in it. I'm going to start off with the blue and burnt umber, but it's on the blue side. And let's see, boy, I did not make much of it. Value-wise, putting it right here on the edge here. And that's a hair dark. But that's okay. I'm going to leave it, I think, because one of the things I know what's going to happen is even if I could thin it out a little bit and get the white of the board to help out, but also got an extra colors coming in. So I'm going to take this. This is just blue, burnt umber, but it's on the blue, or burnt sienna and blue with just a little. This is one where I added King's blue to it, right? And I'm going to come in here and just bring it up to the side here. And basically all I'm doing is thinning it out a little bit as I come up. as I drift up, it just thins out. And then when I get to up here, there's hardly any paint in my brush. But if I work it enough, I can close the gaps, thin it out enough. And it feels like a nice gradation of light. And that's really uplifting. And that's how we'll be painting a lot of this stuff on the end here. So right to the edge of this thing. And then coming in here, same colors. We're using probably the same colors now. Over here and just make a step over. Very dark yet, but I'm just going to get the edge of this cloud here and then get the insides here. I want to get these insides in. Paint these guys from the inside out. Make sure you got those darks embedded before you put in a bunch of light. That will really create translucency and lightness. Or if I just lay the color itself right there and everything's perfect one time, boom, 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 it will sit there a little bit. So getting these transparencies in here in the clouds and things will be really nice. I'm going to bring in some darks from the top too. I'm going to switch over though, since I don't have any more of that paint. I'm going to go with this is phthalo green and alizarin white. Same value as that. So, same value as this. When you wipe it out, stuff that can move that. I'm going to use that up top here. And bring it in just softly. Same thing I did down there. I kind of like left it dark to light. And this one I'm going to push down here at the top just to basically push this cloud in, push it up, and kind of give it a good space. Okay. Also, I'm going to use a little bit of this over here too. I'm going to bring it into this area too a little bit. Not much. It really doesn't. Goes right here. These two colors are so close together, you can't see anything. But again, really hardly any lines. This is like the thing I want to do is just when I do these things is really how smooth these lines are in gradations to each other. You don't see big, strong brush marks in here. So you really softening out those guys at this point. Down in here, this area here, I'm going to go with just a little bit more blue. Oh, shoot. Phthalo green. And blue. Looks just like ooh, where did that come from? It's okay. I'm gonna get this color in. Get the the swirl, basically the strength of the swirl in, and I'll do that just by twisting my brush around and braiding things this smoke up. So to braid it, I'm just going to twist my brush as I go. Make sure I got it all the way through here though. Doesn't look like I'm creating a line. I have a place I'm stopping. So that's one of the things about these things too. It's just like painting through things. So you don't feel like you got a halo going around something. Painting right through an object like this, so you don't leave like a line. You're not going right up the line all the way around it and going around through. Because if you do that, you're going to leave a line, basically a halo line going around it. So I always like to you can even just paint through it a little bit. We got a nice paint eraser if we need to use, if we, over pushed it a little bit. Okay. As I get up here, it's going to be, the strokes are going to be a lot more crisscrossy. Down here, it's kind of smooth, kind of drifting up, right? Everything's kind of drifting up right in here. But you want to leave a little bit of these thicker, thinner paints, transparencies, things. That's what really creates some cool clouds. Like I said, right here, even when I'm catching this guy right here, mostly everything's right there. Whatever I do on this cement down in here, it's going to be cleaned up with a nice edge so just even having these things blend together like that is cool. All right, big area up here, just going to blend these guys out a little bit. As you can see, it's just a little bit dark, which is good. I'm going to soften this edge too, this area here, blend it out. Just a little rotation there, because you got to pick something in this area here, or else it's all going to be the same. So you got to pick an area, find those little areas in these clouds and that are going to be swirly, a little bit different than what's around them, because they'll draw a little tension, and that will help this area here just pop a little bit. So this is going to leave a little dark there, and going to be a little darker here, not as dark as there. That's the thing. Down in here, we did get our darks in, blend out the side a little bit for when the colors go in. Next, they go in nice and smooth, and they already have a nice blanket of colors. So keep that swirliness around that guy. This guy drifts up a little bit, so I'm going to blend them out a little bit more right up here. Darkening that guy a little bit more on that edge too. A little light. Didn't come back with color there. I was supposed to come back with some color there. So I will be using there we go. See, when I thinned out this color so much, it basically just took it up the gradation scale. And so now I'm basically bringing in some of these other colors. This color here is basically a burnt sienna. This is a phthalo green and alizarin together with white, and it makes this color here. And you can see how well those guys work together. So this has just some white added to it. It's on the alizarin side. Okay, big things. This is why I'm using a big brush, and I'm just really rotating it around here, twisting it, turning it, coming back around. But I'm not putting the same pressure on all the time. I'm kind of just I'll start it off strong and release it and come back down and really, do the same thing, kind of stroke coming back down and swirl it. But I'm not going over it. Here I did blend it out a little bit. Now I'm going to be just, when you get to the point where you're starting adding a little bit more white into the color, that's a little more opaque. That's going to blend a lot more things together. So I'm trying not to, I don't have to blend as much here like I did here, just to blend some of that stuff out and blend it out like that. Now with the white, it's going to do a lot of that work for me, but being opaque, it's going to jump in here and do probably too much. So that's why I'm just going to do, you don't have to brush as much. So these guys right now are at probably about right here at 7s. So this is like our third line down of colors. I'm already onto that for this guy. I probably should have used some of these colors down in here too. A lot of times because I'll run out of this color and I won't have it. So I'm going to use it down in here. This is this is that 7 value down in here. Basically, it's reflecting up here. And that's what I'm using up there right now too. Just thinking ahead. So this comes into this area here. It comes in down in here, makes, pushes this cloud just a little bit into this thing. So that's how I'm just a couple strokes. Leave some of this stuff. When you get this stuff in here, a couple strokes, you can start to leave strokes. But you just have to have some areas that are clean, that will let the eye rest too. So that's why we kept this area clean. We're going to keep it clean mostly, but because they're going to have chaos around them. So having a few of these things. Okay, so getting it in here, again, just following the swirl. Making sure it's not perfectly round. That's what I'm finding. Okay. And I pushed it over just a hair too far. So now it's going right over this thing. So I went too far. So I got to push it all back. Okay. Blend this out a little bit, this edge out a little bit. Okay. Just going to keep going. I'm going to probably switch over here to the phthalo greens and purples, alizarin underneath here. Just keeping it slightly warmer up here on one side of the painting. Didn't do much there. Okay. See, I'm just building this thing instead of just diving in and putting in the lights and then building it up. Just building underneath. Just like I do fur and everything else, just making sure that everything gets a little bit of a touch of color for the next color you can grab onto. Just soft, keeps things nice and easy and goes in together well. All right. I'm going to look for that color down in here too. Try to get some more darkness going across the water here too. So basically working the painting both top and bottom. So I'm not going to end up coming at the end and going, oh, I forgot to put this color in. At the bottom of the painting too, it's okay to keep it a little bit darker than you would, I told you about reflections and everything else. But also at the bottom of the painting, though, if you keep it just a little darker, a little stronger here, right in here. So that will help this water flatten out, come at us. I say that a lot, so I'm always repeating this stuff from class to class and stuff. So that's what you have to do, even when you got just a little bit of water there, just making sure that really you have some contrast, which will help bring this forward right here at the bottom. I was almost feel like I had to go back and use almost pure dark right here, going back because I have so much white right in here.
Hey, Jim, I have a question. So the blue that you're putting, the dark blue there, I can't tell, is that a warmer blue?
No.
Or is it cooler?
It's still on the blue side. It is, yeah, you can't tell. It's just has a little bit of burnt sienna in it. And basically it's
So-
what I used right here. I mean, this is the burnt sienna side right here. This is the blue side. This is what I put down in here. But I already had some gray down there. I already had some light gray from up here down there. So that will help flatten that water out when I put the lights back there. So that's what I was using on basically on this bottom part, just trying to get some of these colors to behave. Doesn't have to even be perfectly done because you're going to get a lot of water streaks coming through here and stuff. That help? Okay.
Yes, thank you.
No worries. Okay, we started getting this. Boy, you can tell this guy's gone. He's already, lost in the mist. Pulling him out will be fun. Yeah. Blend this out a little bit. Trying to find those little areas that help turn it, create this cloud before I start to, because the next part, everything's going to get a lot lighter really quick. I'm gonna go. These are some of the lighter colors coming down to still on the third row now. But this is on the alizarin and phthalo green side. This is on the alizarin side. So value wise, again, it's really close to that blue here, the blue gray here. Like I said, I'm just going to go right into these things and then correct that stuff. Just to help me get that coming through. Okay. Just a little darker right in here too. A little light. All right. Keep this edge soft, but it's going to drag this color down for I got a little softer edge. I got also have some room to play. I mean, when I go with the white and stuff into here, because this color is probably going to change a little bit now. I want to be able to. Getting towards the middle light colors really quickly. Okay, this is the bottom color, bottom row of colors. And those are probably right here at 4s, maybe 5s. This is where I'm gonna, I'm going for these really strong ones right in here. Definitely gonna start off with a little bit of if I look at here, I'm gonna go with this alizarin and blue mix, or alizarin and phthalo green mix. It's on the alizarin side. It has just a little bit of feels a little bluer, grayed out blue than the blue version I have. I think I get this would be better down lower. I'm going to use the paint, basically start it off clean paint in the top areas of the painting, or in the middle section of the painting where I see the edges of the clouds like this, because my paint's going to dirty up in a minute. And when it dirties up, I always say that dirties up, I can go lower. I can go, it'll take me lower automatically. It's going to pick these colors up a little bit, just mix enough that now it's just a different value. Now it's dropped down a value, and I can come down in here, take it down lower here. If I take my time coming down, it's going to mix with all these colors. I'm just going to get all these blends automatically without going back and mixing up a bunch of colors. And I can just come back here, and now I got a darker thing, and I can soften all edges. So painting can be very simple. Just knowing how you lay your paint on, where to lay the paint on first, and where to take your brush stroke, second. So now I've gotten all these mid-tones showing through, and basically all I have to do is really match up what's on the brush with what's going on here. So yeah, here we get a little bit lighter right in here, and just following the twist, a lot of arcs. So the same thing. Okay, now I got clean paint again. Probably went too far into this one, showing off a little bit. So I'm gonna push this guy back a little bit. Started in the middle, worked up here. As it gets dirty, you go lower. Like I said, also just let the strokes, don't overwork your strokes. So this is that purplish version right now I'm going with. Just kind of felt it right in here. Very lightly pulling this stuff over. So I'm not like totally wiping out the color underneath. Okay, so that's that color. There's just this one little cloud right in here. It's getting a little bit of light on the edge here. And that's about it. It comes up here. Oh, a little bit too dark right in here, so pull some of that paint out. So now it's just a build of pulling in the paint, pulling in the paint. I'm not going to be using any of the taupe color up there. It's really going to be staying with these colors. Now the next color definitely is the blue. This might be a hair too bright. I might have to go bring it down a value, but just cheating it right now, going a little darker than I have it, because I think it's going to be a little too dark right in here. But this is on the blue, burnt sienna on blue. This is really on the blue side. And putting that right in against this guy here, same value. Just barely can tell that this is blue. And that is a little bit purple. But that is also just that red in that color makes it warmer than what I have here in the blue. Just that slight bit of purple. So I'm just going through. Of course, I think this color might be just a hair too bright. So I should be working it up here in the mid-tone, just to tone it down, work it up here a little bit, that brightness. A lot of times if it's too bright, you touch it again and you can knock it down one step, half step. The colors around it. Let's see. I got this oil in here showing through here from behind when I laid the photo down, and I'm kind of just gonna have to struggle through here and just keep this blend going. because it's going to look like there's oil drops on it when I'm done. And this is where, geez, I would wish I had my monitor up and working. I gotta play this. Oh, no big deal. Bottom of it, I can always get that later. So it's starting to come through. Really just ended up making this color here, which is just slightly too bright. I made it just a hair too bright, taking it up, basically mixing it up a little bit more with the next color level up and just getting a value in between what I had. Okay, just, yeah, you can start to see the blue start to show through here. Okay. You know, like I said, this is I'm barely holding onto my brush. I'm barely touching it. Because all these things underneath here, I just don't want to get rid of all of them. I want a lot of them to stay. So it's really a soft touch. So you have a lot of different colors mixing and blending together really quickly. Kind of see this, just the coolness right in here behind its head. The head right up here. Okay. Definitely gonna have to, you know, gray out this. Kind of went just a little light on this one side here, so back in here, just showing off a little bit, and got it a little lighter down in here than it should have been. So basically, I'm just going to work some more blue and back into a blue burnt sienna value wise, keeping it on the blue side a little bit even more. Okay. Just to tone that back, probably could go back one more step. I think because of that's how subtle these things are. Just trying to get one thing back in front, just graying this one back, just this side, that back. That one will come forward a little bit more value wise. Anything over here too, just a little bit of more in that. Using it just to take off the edges of these, of the squareness of this brush. Getting just a little bit more blue into a few of these little crevices. And just pushing it back in, feathering it in. Especially in here. Oh yeah, that helps a lot. There's a couple little lighter areas there. Okay. Soften this line here. This line's gotten a little bit, pushing it in a little bit too, just for it's not too straight up and down. I got enough, this thing's enough straight up and down. I don't want too much more. And back in here. My line here, that's not bad. Just darken this in, just a shadow. Okay. All right, so that's really the 3/4 of the painting right there. Just swirling your brush around and around, twisting it off, so we don't have too many things. So it's always a brush, push, push. Okay. Let's see. I got a little bit. This is the phthalo green side. That was the blue side. That was phthalo blue and burnt sienna, but a lot of white, ton of white. This is phthalo green and alizarin on the green phthalo side with white at the same value. I'm going to work it more in this area too. Just try and see. See, it feels just a little bit lighter. So it's only going to go in a few areas here. And then I'm going to look at final little thing back in here to get this done with. This is just softening up a few areas here. Just some of these little puffs are coming at me a little bit more. So this is going to help help do that. Just putting in a little paint and then pushing it around a little bit, trying not to get rid of everything I did, so it's always light stroke, light. Okay. I don't know how this is going to work, but I did mix up. I swear that color was work. No, these are for. Okay, let's leave this cloud here, right about here. I'm not going to do too much more up here. I'm going to start working on our business here. Okay, let's just say that's done for now, and see what happens here. I'm thinking about this blue I put in. I mixed up. I looked like it was going to go in here, but as I get going here and stuff, I'm thinking if I put that in here, it's going to just jump at me. So I'd rather test it down here where I know it's got to go than go all the way up there. These lighter colors here also, oh shoot, did not paint the water in. So let's paint the water in. Start to paint that in. I start to know where this goes. I can start to figure out that. So no, always I'm just pushing it down just a hair lower than this cement thing here too. Then I'm going to blend it out upwards a little bit. Everything's just a short little blend down. I'm just going to blend this stuff down all the way too, until I get to here. And then just start to use this to get this edge. This is what happens when, basically all we have to do is create a value chart from dark to light back there. And then when you get back in here, just got to touch this edge one more time, soften it, bring the dark back in, and you should be pretty close to go. Here, we're going to get a little bit more cloud showing through. So it's just a slight push up here and there. Same thing over here. Just a push up. Just let it be a little bit. Keep it clean. This area's got to go a little darker. So I'm going to go up one step. This is just burnt sienna and blue. Definitely in the water areas, I've been keeping it a little cleaner. Even I'm not going with the burnt sienna too much, because that's going to really. You'll see what happens when we get to this point over here. Just going to grow really quickly. I mean, the color's just gonna jump at you, and I just know if I put it in here, it's gonna jump a little bit more. I can get some, nice alizarins in here, and some phthalo greens in here, but that warmth of that burnt sienna is pretty much going to just jump at me too much. So here I'm just taking that color down, just taking around the edge here a little bit, right in here. I see. Then I'll come back into a few places here and there and darken in. This over here too. This little blue water here. Really, it's a step darker than this, because of it's such a little place, and it's going to be has this darkness of the cloud above it, and has this darkness here. So this light's going to have a lot more contrast, and it's going to see like it's bright, darker, or too brighter. So you got to keep it a little darker to make it go back in space. Okay. Let's start working on the big things. Just cheating this guy in a little bit. So you can see I just don't have a line going around this guy that when I get in there. All right. I'm going to go a little darker on him. He is going to put a little warmth in him too. So I will be using the burnt sienna and burnt sienna and blue on the burnt sienna side. I haven't used it much anywhere else, but it has shown through a little bit. But we're going to, most of it's going to be in here. I'm going to start at the top, and this is going to be, I'm not going to go over that. I'm not going to go with the big dark one. This is like 3 tiers down. This is a grayed out with a little bit of white. This is like value is like right around a 6 value. It's that 3 tier down, 3rd tier down. I'm just going to put it in on the top area here. Not right where I think the white is going to be, but I'm more, black's going to be, but just underneath this area here, just slightly put it in and bring it down just a hair. That's almost, I almost put it in too dark. I think I went in a little opaque. That's okay. So a little bit dark. I'll look at that color and I'll go, okay, before I, just walk away from this color, let's see where else I can put it. It's going to go in a lot of this cement here. You're going to see it coming in this edge here, coming into this area here. It's going to be able to make that line in the cement. The cement, the difference between the cement and the metal girders that are holding this thing together. Just one stroke. There we go. I'll look at the cement on the outsides of this thing too and see where else it can go. Maybe it will be light enough to, for this edge here of this thing, put it in here. Just having everything else is really thin. So just having anything with a little bit of white into it is going to make a difference. Cool it off and look different. That's not bad. There's a few places here. We want it a little stripy. It's going to end up being. Maybe on the lower end coming in. Just a few spots. because I don't really want to, I'm not going to be doing tons of this stuff, but it's good to get some of this stuff in. While we're there, you might look at this stuff here. You're going to find, if you leave the dark and just paint the slats, just like that. I'm not going to be able to do them all. I mean, I didn't. I'm just going to get a few of these guys. That's the thing is, even when I get down in here, I'm just going to just be touching it a little bit. No one really wants to count these little dark things too much. I'll put in a few, but I'm not going to put in all of them. You know, I'll put in a few darks. Here I can get away with a lot of the work just by putting in a little coolness into that. Except for it just kind of messed up my water a little bit there. A little too bright. So this is what's going to be this right there. This is that blue in burnt umber, burnt sienna white. Yeah, going in here and just being that, breaking this, the ice just down into shapes. You know, one long shape, and then just seeing what the lines that come off it are. You might have to touch it into space a little bit, but that's about it. It should be darker there, but I didn't. Jumped ahead a little bit, trying to get this color here. Okay, I want to get this nail on this edge here too, but I want to put the blue in first. Let me. This might be really, really bad. No, but this has just blue and white basically. And I was thinking about it on this edge here of this thing. For that snow, painting that snow coming up that edge. It's just pure blue and white. And that's what we mixed up. We added it. It has a little bit of phthalo green. Just a little bit of phthalo green in it. That's this color. I'm just putting it right here on the edge. And it's value-wise, you see it's right around 6. So sometimes value, I mean, you just get the right value and you can do a lot here. And so this color here, just being the right value, it glows, but it is, that's about it. You're going to see this thing coming in a lot on this side too, this thing. But I'm going to, you know, if I wanted to do the snow here, I could use this on the snow too. Save myself a little bit. I want to put it there, look for it a little bit in here. So that blue is working. That's almost, like I said, almost a straight blue. You know, just a touch of phthalo green in it and white. And what I'm doing now is just using it as a light version, just to get these little areas here again, just to start getting the structure of this thing in. All right. I'm going to switch brushes. I'm going to switch. I love this brush. I'll probably be using it really a lot more. But I need to go down little spaces here because I want to get this. I have to get this dark in now. And that is, I'm going to put it in with burnt sienna and burnt sienna and blue mix, just a touch of King's blue. And I want to paint this, you know, straight down in here and bring it up. You know, and that's all I want to do. Put one stroke in and build it from the top, from the bottom up. And then I'll use a little bit of finger work and stuff to push this thing back down. I'll take that. And then I'm going to come back in with that. This is the purple. This is alizarin. This is, might be a little light. You see. On this area, I'm going to go up to this top tier here, or not the top tier, the next tier. And it's about the same, just a little bit bigger than that one, but not by much. So if you got split this thing right in half, so you're doing two things. I'm starting on the brighter side over here and just let it mix a little bit, and then coming down with the next spot, coming down and doing the next one. I'm going to let everything happen. That color is just a hair too bright. This is just too bright. So I'm going to tone it down a little bit. I'm going to come back to add just a little more phthalo green and gray to it. Just gray this color down a little. That's too bright. That's just too bright. Yeah, that's better. Bring value, just so subtle difference. That is almost too bright. It's okay. The next one up is a little bit bigger than that section wise. And I'm going to go up here, just bring it down. I can just leave a little section if I want, you know. So starting there, just running my brush over here a little bit. And by the time I get to right about here, halfway through, it really darkens down. The color does. So I'll flip my brush around and I get, you know, just enough little color there to change it around. Okay, not bad. That's much, much better. Now this last one, I'm going to start, since the shadow's above it, you know, the darkness and stuff. So I'm going to start with a lower stroke and go up. So, and let the darkness of that shape, you know, let the brush you know, do the work again. Not bad. And then you just got to go back in and all these other ones, just even them out a little bit. So they're not value-wise pretty good. Probably could go up just a hair more. Go cheat it up a little bit. Okay. I'll be able to go back in and just add color. This is a little bit of that snow color right here. I'm going to put it back in the middle of these things. So that snow color that I used right here, just going to use that on the middle of this guy in the midsection. Just hit it with a little bit of blue. And now come forward. The darks on the sides, stuff will go back a little bit. Gives it just a little bit of age. Push this line down just a hair more. That helped out a lot because I was thinking that was going to be up here too. The next thing I'm going to do is just get this crown, start working on the crown part of it. Basically the same colors I used down here probably should work. Should work. So I'm just not going to worry about the things there. Just going to lay it in here. Pretty short. Make it sure straight. Let me get in front of it. Oh man, this thing's, it's leaning, but it's not leaning at this angle. It's not leaning, it's perfectly straight. So a lot of things, like I said, I got to get in front of these things sometimes. So you guys are going, my God. I might have to go to the top. Just do this one little touch, a little higher. I was thinking this, just looking at the rail. There's just that rail coming through there. So I'm just going to put one more line up there. Okay, the top, just go, basically, I'm not going to worry about, again, I got to get in front of it. Put this in. Sorry. Sorry, I guess. You could do a lot, even on this stuff. You can do a lot of it just with the edge of a brush, being able to lay it flat and pulling it up and getting everything in there. I do have my mark here for, let me check again. Yeah, for that thing going up. So basically all I have to do is find that little where I'm going to put that in, and I can recreate the water and everything else. Seems like it's hard work, but it's not. It's really go pretty quickly. It's just a little bit of the detail. That's the only thing, and then keeping that subtlety. Value-wise, that value of that light is right. Really good. Just get a little bit of dark in here around the outsides. You can see that value is pretty close. All right. Basically, we got that snow color again. Let me see if how it looks up here. Making a triangle all the way over. Just a hair blue, a little not quite the thing. This is the other color I was thinking. It might be. Yeah, much better. This is just that same color, with just a little bit of alizarin in it. All right. And you can just see how you can feel the warmth in that color compared to the blue. But so it's good kind of having that blue down there. And then just that hint of alizarin to it, like that, really makes the difference of the snow. So put the blue in first. I'm going to finish putting in this section here too. Doing it. Bring this snow up here. Into right there. The nice thing too, the more snow you put on this thing, that's fine too. You can get away with, that thing, and just break that line up a little bit. I'm doing there, a little more snow there, and then bringing in the alizarin into the color. for the very top part, going back in and just doing that front edge. It's a subtlety of light, and it works. Just little things like that. This looks really good right there. That's really good. Just a little bit of work there, bring it down. So I have to go back in now and just put in some darks. It's coming along pretty nicely. Gonna be a lot of little fun little details. I just want to get rid of this background and come shoot through here a little bit, softening these edges. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now maybe I can see where I can use that blue in here too. Maybe that will. Maybe I wasn't totally off, but I kind of did. Felt like it was. Definitely, I want to put in that few things. I want to put in some details on these guys. Okay. Like I said, I'm going to switch brushes. I'm going to use probably a smaller knife too for this, because my long knife would probably go in too far. I don't need to. A lot of these things I think I can do with just like the gray of the burnt umber or burnt sienna and burnt sienna and blue mixed on the burnt sienna side. I think I can just push it in here. This is like a maybe I could be a little more blue. I don't know. So I'm going to go in here and just put in a little more of these details. There's a door right here. Right there. So you just see a little bit of glass. I'm going to go with like it's going to be reflecting this stuff here. So I'm just using a little blue gray into the couple dots here. That's how little that is. But the thing is, that's what tells you straight above here, straight on up. You're going to find the windows pretty much lining up with this thing. So I should be able to go in here, right here, and just get this window. Half, slightly over half, straight down. Not bad. That's interesting. It's just, I'll just hit it one more time with some more paint. There you go. Same up here, straight up. Just doesn't want to come off. Little by little, just there you go. That's a nice thing too about this guy, value wise and things like being not a whole lot of color on this guy too. Just being black and white is pretty cool. So this is I'll be putting in these details of these guys. Thin is the best way to put them in. Don't get caught up too much. I'm putting them in just as thin as I can. That's why I'm putting them in this guy. They got a little bit wide, but I can just touch them a little bit. I like the noogies. And then connect. Let's connect the line here. A little bit more. There you go. That's just that burnt umber or burnt sienna and blue mix. One down. I'm gonna go and put in the lights. I mean, I can put this stuff in. I want to just see it. A lot of times, like, God, if I don't have to go in there and paint that, if I can get a better effect, if it's or the effect's working already, you know, only you and I know I mixed up a color for that. So I'm just gonna leave it because I'm thinking that, man, I mixed up that color anyway. Okay. Now the ball on the head up here, definitely keep it smaller. It's gonna read bigger right off the bat. And I got snow up there, and that's pretty cool, you know. So if I just touch this thing, just make it, don't have to make it so big. You know, keeping it small like that is really good. You know, there's a lot of other little details in here to do. That's were pretty cool. I like that. I like what's happening. I like to leave a little more drift of snow on the top. Okay. I'm gonna leave that for now, and let's get into, you know, a reflection. Okay, let's go at least. If I'm not gonna paint that up there, I can paint the reflection. I do have to paint the light reflection in here. Oh, see, I didn't waste my time, but I'm just gonna paint it in with the Venetian, just a touch of Venetian into the ochre with white thing, and I'm just gonna come down here and touch a few places. Right straight down from it and see how dark it is, light I have here. Just a hair light. So I'm going to put some gray into it, gray that color out. I have everything's gray. I probably could even go with this. This is just like burnt sienna. Yeah, I can just go here with burnt sienna and blue and white here. You know, and just do a few of these guys and get that and be good in that area. I'm just gonna, yeah, I kind of like that. It's kind of fun. All right. So this is kind of cool. It just needs to be cooled off. So now it's all just like final work is just looking at these things, got the basic values in really nice. Now it's just like, okay, well, this needs just a touch of blue into it here and there. This cement, mostly from the bottom part of the section going up a little bit. And so I'll just put that in a little bit. I like the streakiness, so I'm not going to be doing a whole lot of changes there. But if I did want to go in and just put in a few of these metal sections here, you know, give myself a little bit of room in between. I don't have to paint them all. I just have to paint some of them. Might have to darken that top part of this thing in a little bit more. Again, I lost that just a little bit. This is grayed out a little bit. It needs to go a little darker, so I'm going to go back in with the burnt sienna and blue mixes and just get the top edge and pull it back down a little bit. Softly drag it across. Let it come off the brush. This is a little bit tighter than brushwork and stuff. So the grain in the cement is tighter. So that's why I'm using a synthetic for this part, because I'm letting the synthetic, you know, it has a tighter grain to the bristles. So I don't have to do too much. It just really keeps it tight and clean. I'm gonna do the same thing back in here. I lost that one edge. See if I can dig it out of here again. I'll look on here too, just to break this dark up a little bit. This thing needs a little bit more work. All these guys here, a lot of times it's as simple as touching the brush down now on this guy. Just touching the brush down. Yeah, there's a few other things I got to put in here too. We just saw about these little bit of things here. There's a few ornate little things coming down in there and there. The idea of them is sometimes stronger than doing them. Grade this bottom one up a little bit more. He's just a little bit. These guys feel pretty good. This guy needs to be just a little darker. Kind of fun. Okay. Making sure these two guys don't line up. Okay. You can even see some of that Venetian kind of showing through here a little bit. That's kind of nice. Time-wise, well, we're right there. That's about it. I mean, basically, I'll be going through and just running through my darker blues and purples here. And I'm going to be dragging a few things in here. One of the things I just warn you about is lining too many things up. You don't want this to end with this line. You got to be below it or way above it when you do water this backwater here. Because these lines, because we've got a lot of things that just carry through there. So that's what I'm just speaking about. Just enough here to break these guys up a little bit. Like I said, this is what I'm talking about right here. Just this little shape of water dark coming through here, making sure it doesn't line up that line. Or the same thing up here. Same, always go in between. Cheat yourself. It will read a lot better. Okay. That's that. Yeah, a little more darks back underneath here. Little details to come through. It'll be fun to put in. Yeah. That's about it. I think we're good. Dark, more dark here. Probably a reflection of the lighthouse, just a little bit more in there. Might be nice. So just one little place here, just hitting it one step lighter, right at the bottom. And then I'll just be going through and softening a lot of these things. A lot of times I'll be just doing it with my finger. Just these edges, just the swirls. And then just giving it a few spots out there. Same thing here, just pushing it around a little bit, following the strokes. Just softening the edges. Give it a few finger pushes in here. I'll look at that guy too, because I'm kind of being on the side here. Lost a few things here, you know, shape-wise things. So just push these guys up, push things around. So make sure that stuff swirls. Let's see what you guys did. I'll bring it in. We lost a little time because of things, but this is, you know, I thought this was going to be, I'd be done with this in like 10 minutes, you know, but it's still taking a lot longer. So that's coming in on it. You know, it feels a little bluer than what's on here. Let me see the water. Anyway, That's what it is right now. It could be a little blue gray greener, but we are going with that. All right, we have Mimi and we have Jeannie and Allison. Who painted?
I did. Let's see here. I'm gonna try to manage my iPad today.
Okay. Here you come. Whoa, nice work.
Thank
Way to
you.
go.
Oh, good, Mimi.
You kept up. Congrats. Really good. You even put in you put in that reflection more than I did. You really were thinking about it. Gave it a lot better. You changed the perspective into a much stronger one, which really pushes that thing out there. Really shows that light off. That's nice. Did you end up painting the light in?
I did. I went ahead and put the light in. Yeah.
Yeah. Good job. Good job.
So
Really good back there. A lot of little softenings you're going to have to start doing and get in there. I think you lost a few midtones in the background, in the cloud itself back there, but everything's the shape is working really nice. That's really kind of very dynamic. Even your cloud, the way that's turning in there, that's really nice.
thank you.
Really nice.
Thanks.
Yeah, just a few more glares. Get the right glares in the water with the snow and stuff is at the bottom. Work that just the pier a little bit more. I think you got it. It's really nice. Congrats.
Thank you.
Okay. Allison, did you paint?
I did.
Yeah,
I didn't. Right. I've
If
got.
I didn't paint you this, what did you paint?
Yeah, no, I did paint. Yeah.
Oh God,
Oh,
Alice.
that's nice.
Wow. Really great job on that cloud back there. That's really
Boy, your
shows
clouds
you
are fantastic.
that is really gorgeous. Wow. And it almost feels like a sunny day since you haven't painted the guy in there. It feels like, wow, that's really dynamic too. I love that. I really love how much lightness did you put back into those clouds back there? You got a lot more blue than burnt umber in those clouds, don't you?
Yeah, I started with this dark, and then the light colors, the light blues that we mixed up, I put on with a palette knife in shapes, and then brushed them through.
Nice. Good job.
that's
That worked
smart.
out really. That is gorgeous. Your the water underneath at the bottom. That's beautiful. That is, I love the way you put that in. That is just smooth. Has some color changes to it. It is so feels so right. It makes everything else it makes everything fall into place. Really some gorgeous
So I
things.
shouldn't change the water down here?
No, well, I like the quietness
Okay, a
of
little
it and
bit. I
stuff.
like it too, but I thought that
Yeah.
maybe it wasn't good enough.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're gonna have to put a little more reflection into it.
Oh, yeah, the
because
reflection,
of
yeah.
the thing.
Yeah.
But just a couple traces of snow or something kind of going through it, just like you did
Yeah.
back. Wow, that's all you have to do. Very subtle. I love that. I really think wow, that's really good. I just say watch the stridation of the cement a little bit. I think you can brush that out just a hair because they're all becoming a little bit too even there.
Yeah,
but that's the only thing holding that.
Yeah.
Yep, that's the only thing holding this one back. Okay, don't go too much brighter than you have on the clouds back there. I mean, that light in there.
The clouds,
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, you're done. Good job.
Thank you. Thank
Smart
you.
girl. That is gorgeous. I'm glad to see you painting that one.
Yes.
Jeannie,
I love
how about
painting
you?
skies.
I did paint, but we're going to go from
nice
bright
job,
and
girl.
airy to dystopian. Mine is
Here she
really
comes.
dark. It's really dark.
Ooh, mine's dark too.
Too dark.
But no. Well, the thing is, you got the darks in there. now it's just putting in some of the blue back into it, and just take and blending them out and stuff. It'll work out gorgeous. That is no, Jeannie,
Okay.
you've got some definitely great things. Okay, now just watch the outside. Get those clouds to come in and shape the outsides of the lighthouse a little bit more now, because you got
Yeah.
those dark lines there. Yeah, push those clouds in and get rid of those lines with the clouds on the outside. That'll be gorgeous. Really.
So do you mean
love
do you
your
mean
snow
out
too
here?
on the
Do you mean out here or in here?
right there. Yeah, you using the
Okay.
clouds and just push them into your line, because you have lines on your lighthouse, the
Right.
vertical lines on
Oh, those lines. Okay, I got you. Yeah.
just push the snow into those guys and just get that snow to make sure you can break that line up. That'll be gorgeous.
I will.
That's gonna be
Yeah, I
that
didn't
is
work too much on the
fabulous.
lighthouse. Okay, thanks.
Oh, okay, good.
You know, it's funny. I
Thank-
like my water better
I mean,
looking
it
at it
looks
on the
right.
screen than. Okay. All right. Thanks.
Well, good. That sometimes you just need to take a break to see what you really happening, because sometimes you're focusing it in and with a different eye, and then all of a sudden you look at it and you go, oh, that is right. I was going to change that.
Mhm.
Your clouds back there are fabulous too. You got some real guts going on. We got a really darker winter scene going here, which is great. I was just saying, I'm just saying, could be video too. If your dark blues, because you listened really well, you put those dark blues in really strong. If we need to lighten them up and stuff, it's really a simple. They're wet and stuff. You can just basically put a little bit of a value lighter into that if you need to.
Okay.
But it's good to have that guts in there. Kind of draws you back into that, shows you how strong that snow coming in is going to be. Fabulous, Jeannie.
Okay. Thank
I
you.
love it.
Thanks, Jim. All
Okay.
right. Thanks.
I think you guys get a little bit too worried about things. And for me, I was like, oh geez, I wish look, I gotta paint from a printout and stuff. So
That's
always
hard to
something.
do.
Yeah, just a little
Always
bit, but
something.
at least it's not whole. Yeah. So as long as it's not in my hand, I'm fine. I think it's good. Okay. Well, that's good. I'm glad we got this one out of the way. And it's just only a few colors, and it still took forever to paint. But we got, you guys, you only painted for about less than 2 hours, and you got a painting almost done. That's really nice. Really, really nice.
That is nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
It
it
is.
is. And it's a beautiful photograph. So there's lots of, possibilities. Yeah.
Oh,
Wanna
yeah.
work on it.
She's a good girl. She really takes some nice shots. Okay, next week we're going to be on to some more color. We're going to be doing probably one more winter scene. We're going to go with the color. We're going to make some color into that one. This is definitely was a kind of a value, more contrast thing, working in the grays and the values of really close to grays and blues. The next one's definitely going to be more sunny. Going to have some periwinkle shadows, some warm days, sunny days. So it should have a lot of contrast, some fun things to work with. And then from there on, we'll do some few more other things. We're already, this is our second week already. So that's all I have to say. I want to say thanks for joining me, and you guys have a great weekend, rest of the weekend and next week.
Thank you. You
Thanks,
too,
Jen.
Jen. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for today.
Thanks,
All right.
Jim.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.